Welcome to Women in Paint. Whether your paint story is dripless or an old school mix of project management, business ownership, or modern estimation, the stories of women in paint are now part of the industry's rising success. We'll educate, encourage, and promote diversity and gender equality by giving you a behind the scenes look at our proven skills, business acumen, and driving force that propels anyone to find meaningful opportunities and a career path that challenges lives through paint. Now let's welcome your host, Michael Cheney.
All right, welcome to the show. This is going to be a fun one because we're talking about some things that we don't normally get to talk about, and it has to do with the decorative finishing industry, which I am learning more and more about. I've got Miss Toby Sanders on with me. Toby, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So look, let's just get into this.
Okay.
Who are you and what do you do?
All right. Well, I am Coach Toby Renee, and you're not going to believe this, but by trade, I am a computer programmer. I am tech all the way. I have a degree in IT, but I just had a love for design, art, and decorative painting. So I made that my life. So I am the owner of Faux Decor Design Studio based here in Atlanta. And I have a mentoring and a coaching business as well. And I teach creatives, people who are burned out, how to move into this industry and how to really thrive and make a good living.
So you've got a background in IT and tech, which means I can now come to you with all my technical computer issues.
Yes, everything.
Listen, I can still handle that part of this, at least for now. But you're a coach, you're a business owner, you're doing all of the things, and it's under the decorative finishing umbrella. So what is decorative finish? What does a decorative finisher do for those that don't know? And why did that spark your interest? Why did it pull you out of the tech world?
Okay, so first of all, depending on what circle you're standing in, they could call you a decorative painter, a decorative artist, or a faux finisher. But
Okay.
just know they're all the same exact thing. So just kind of read the room. But yeah, my initial beginning of my career, I always went by faux finisher. And that's basically someone who can take a surface or just anything and make it look real or something like, or make it look like something else.
Yeah.
So an example of that would be wood graining. So I could take a whole wall and just make it look like oak or, what have you, whatever wood finish is required. And I thought doing that was so cool. Like I don't know, I just always loved art and design. And so that was the biggest thing for me. And when I bought my first home, it was a loft downtown. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I got my first house. What am I going to do? What am I going to paint? And I did the interior myself. And I don't know, my tastes were so weird back then. I had a red chase lounge, a leopard chair, and I think I had a black sofa. And I don't know why I bought all this random furniture. And one day, one of the furniture associates was like, oh, well, if you're going to paint, why don't you use silver paint? And next thing I know, I'm at Home Depot, didn't even know they had silver paint, platinum, silver,
Yeah.
none of that. I didn't even know metallic paint existed. Actually, I never had even picked up a paintbrush. But next thing I know, I'm painting my loft and everybody loved it. And I was like, wow, I really like this might be
Yeah.
something, to look forward to. And it took me a long time to realize, oh, this is actually a thing. This is a career path. This is a
Mhm.
business path. And I never knew that for about the first 2 years of doing it. I thought I was just doing, just having a good
Mhm.
time. So that's how I ended up as a faux finisher.
Do you like when you look back, like when you were younger and stuff, do you think like you were always creative? Like, did you kind of have this like creative gene that you've just kind of been given, or what do you think?
I feel like my brother got the creative gene.
Okay.
My brother is an artist and he does tattoos as well. So
Okay.
he definitely got the I can draw gene.
Okay.
But my mom is very creative. She was a wedding planner, cake decorator, florist. She used to do it all. So I feel like I get a little bit of, or all of my creativity from her. but I'm a little bit of a techie nerdy as well. And I feel like I got that from my dad. But I enjoy the creative side way, way more. I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed that a lot more. So I just was like, you know what? If I can make a great living from this, I'm going to phase out of this job. I
Yeah.
am. I'm
That's
going to
super
phase
cool.
out of corporate.
So, I think, we got to address kind of, I'm just going to call it the elephant in the room, because the faux finishing world, when I originally kind of realized that this was still a thing, I'm thinking about the stuff that my mom used to do, like back in the 80s when she would bust out the stencil wallpaper stuff. And like, there was like this kind of like faux painting back when I was younger, but it's not really quite like that. It's like it's been revived. So kind of talk about like maybe some of the stigmas that are attached to faux finishers, because I know that there's some really cool things happening. And but how does it evolve from what my mom used to do? Is that still a thing to like what you guys are doing now?
So no, that is not a thing at all. So yeah, when I first got into the industry, it was ragging, rag rolling,
Yeah.
bunching, the woolly, and I hated that stuff. Even then, I was like, this is so not cute. Um, but I still like being creative. So when I first started my company, I was making up my own textures and my own finishes. I was like, okay, I have to figure out something else because I cannot sell sponges for the rest of my life. So no, the industry has definitely transcended over time. People who are decorative painters aren't even really, they don't even realize sometimes that they are just that, because maybe they only specialize in Venetian plaster or they only
Mhm.
specialize in doing epoxy flooring. But it's all decorative art, it's all decorative painting. But yeah, that is pretty much how
Yeah.
how I operate.
So what are some of the other, because you said epoxy floors and you're talking about like the Venetian glaze, what are some other things and applications that are in this world that people are doing nowadays?
I think nowadays, like I said, the epoxy is huge. You see that all over Instagram.
Hmm.
Watercolors making a comeback. Because to me, it kind of like quieted down a little bit in regards to the art world. But in the faux finishing world, Venetian plaster is always fun. But now it's really popular when they're creating these veins within the
Yes.
plaster and they're making everything look like real slabs of
Yep.
marble, and then they're adding in all of the gold leafing and the silver leafing veins. So that has become super, super popular. And believe it or not, lime wash has made a comeback.
Yeah.
So lime wash came out, and then you never heard about it, and now it's made a huge comeback. But even with that, like when I'm doing lime wash finishes, I have even tried to kind of up my game on that, because technically the average homeowner could try their hand at it, right? We don't know if it's
Right.
going to
Right.
turn out, but they always make lime wash seem like, oh, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Um, but I've had to even kind of evolve my lime wash finishes because I still want my stuff to look like, wait a minute, my lime
Yeah.
wash doesn't look like her lime wash. So,
Right.
but it's so many beautiful things. Even in my portfolio, I offer mica, and that's still relatively new on the market. And I do a lot of Italian plasters, a lot of luster stone, marmarino. So textures are really, really popular right now as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely seeing that in my world. So we're going to kind of talk about two things. So you've got, well, I mean, I guess you've got like two businesses really, because you are a decorative painter and or faux finisher or whatever the name that suits you. And then you've got your academy where you actually teach people to do this. So let's kind of talk about your business first. And let's just say, like what's one of the most difficult things about being a business owner? What would you say for
I
you?
I would say the most difficult thing about being a business owner is managing all of the different parts of it. It's not getting the clientele, it's not getting through the projects, it's the actual day-to-day of the admin. So
Mm,
if you don't have a team in place, or at least if you work by yourself and you don't have the systems in place, that part of the business could drain you. It could be very, very draining. So I do try to teach and encourage people to stay on top of that. Make sure you have your marketing and your branding set up in a way that maybe you don't have to touch it every day. Get systems in
Mhm.
place so that things are automated and can run behind the scenes. And then that way you can go and do your decorative painting, your artwork, whatever it is you want to do, and feel comfortable and happy knowing that behind the scenes the business is getting done.
Yeah. See, that's the tech IT part of you that probably really pairs well. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that if we can. So if you've got someone that's just starting, maybe they are in the field, they're out, whether they're painting or they're doing faux finishing or whatnot. Can you give one tip on what's one thing that they could potentially automate that might do exactly what you're saying? Give them some relief when they're out in the field. Maybe they're not having to answer the phone every 5 seconds or whatnot. But what is like one thing that you think is relatively easy for someone to automate?
I believe you're building your email list.
Mm,
I really feel like get you email first of all,
mhm.
open you up a Linktree account and set that up so where when people click, they can click on your Linktree and they can opt in to an email list, or they could at least see all the links that you have set up to products that you may be
Yeah,
selling. But if you're brand new, the biggest thing is to start building your email list, because that's going to be your customer base, that's going to be your client base. Those people buy from you all the time. So if you could build that fan base, I think you'd be in a really, really good place.
yeah, I think that's a great idea. Um, So you were in the IT world. You have I have to say that you have to have something creative about you. But you're gonna talk about your academy because I'm wondering if you're gonna say that you don't have to be artistic to do this. I'm not sure yet, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So you become an entrepreneur. What is one of the most satisfying things about being an entrepreneur for you? Why are you still doing this? Why do you like being an entrepreneur?
I feel like the most satisfying part of being an entrepreneur, still to this day, is the effect that I'm having in people's homes, their commercial spaces. Like it's really an energy that I'm creating, that I'm putting out there in the world. And when I walk away, I leave that. It's like traces of me all over the place. And when people see my work, they're like, "Oh my God, I wonder did Toby do that?" So that's like the biggest thing for me, knowing that I can really affect and touch people on a daily basis, whether I'm there or not. You know what I'm saying? So I just love getting all of the feedback, how you take something from blah to
Yeah.
fabulous. And I just love that transformation. And I like to see it in, people's faces and get their reactions.
Yeah, that I would say that that's one of the things I love about just being in the painting industry. And for me, and I feel like this will land with you, but being able to have an impact on people's space. And for me, space is really a place that makes you feel good, that can motivate you, that can, you want to invite friends and family over. Your space is like, I think it has the power to change your life, right? And so you get to leave this beautiful artwork, it sounds like, and it also sounds like people can kind of recognize you must have some special touches in there where people can see that it's something that you created. So I love that. It's amazing. Let's talk about your academy because I think that this is such a cool thing. So you have the Decorative Paint Academy. What is that, and how did you kind of get into this from your original faux painting background? How did you then start this whole new entity?
So the academy has been a work in progress, definitely. For a long time, I never even thought about teaching, helping people in that way, nothing education related. However, my teams and my crews you always would be like, "Oh my God, you're such a good teacher." I'm like, "Okay, but get back to work," you know? So the thing was the running, feeling in the company was you really, know how to teach or whatever, and
Yeah.
you have patience. Like I messed up your wall. You didn't fire me. You let me come back the next day. So for years, they used to just always tell me, you should teach, you should teach. And then one day I woke up and I was like, the market is changing. And I'm getting older too. I'm not going to be able to be on a ladder or
Yeah.
scaffolding all day, every day for the rest of my life. So I really started to have to think about what does retirement look like for me? And I started thinking about this at 30.
Hmm.
Well, and actually I thought about it before, but it didn't really resonate because I was corporate. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I had a check coming every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever. But once I opened up my own business, then it was like, how do you set yourself up long term for retirement so that, I don't know if I'm going to be married, whatever. So one day I woke up and I was like, Mom, you know what? I think I'm going to teach. And I always had people emailing me asking, can they learn these techniques? Can they do that? Can they do this? And I would just be like, no, like this is my business. So I was like gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so in I think 2009, I really stepped out on a limb. I opened up my first studio, 2 classrooms, and I never looked back. So
Wow.
yeah, I have 2 businesses, 2 thriving businesses. And I'm just glad that God gave me the gifts and the talents and the patience to help teach people and train people and really show them like this is the way you can survive.
Do you think like teaching is kind of one of your callings in life? It sounds like you're naturally good at it.
Yeah, so I didn't think that, but I do now. I do
Yeah.
now. I really enjoy it, and I really get like this high from seeing people get something. So, like if I show them something and they're not getting it, they're not getting. And the first time they do it, it's like a scream or a yell or a jump up and down, and they're clapping. So I ask all the time, like, what is my purpose, right? Why am I
Yeah.
here? What is it that I'm put here to do? And that always comes back full circle, helping people,
Mhm.
helping them grow their businesses because it's hard being a designer. It's hard being an artist, and sometimes if you don't have help, you don't even know who to ask for help. So I feel like my academy is very rare in that sense because I don't know anyone else that's really doing this or they have a
Mhm.
program like mine. So yeah, I just really love being able to help people.
How do you think you made the shift from the gatekeeping mentality to actually now I wanna share this gift, I wanna teach people what I've learned. How did that shift come about? How'd you land there?
I think the shift came about through how I was coached and mentored. Um, my mentor, she's like an OG in this field. When I tell you 45 years in the game. But
Wow.
she took me under her wing. Sometimes she charged me, for our sessions. Sometimes she didn't. And when I got really good enough and graduated from her class, she hired me to work for her. So I knew, I didn't expect her to do everything for free, but I
Yeah.
knew that if I gave my all and I gave good effort and she saw that she would continue you on helping me.
Sure.
And she did over the years. Like I'm 50 now, and I just saw her a couple of, months ago at a convention and it was like heaven, getting ready,
Yeah.
getting, being able to hang out with her. So I think just the way she took me under her wing, it made me not fearful to share,
Yeah.
and she had given me basically the blueprint for my school. Like I knew what to do. I knew it worked. I knew, what I needed in PDFs. I just had already been properly trained that way. And so I do encourage people to take this path. If they take this path, take it serious.
Mhm.
Take real classes, invest in yourself, and invest in your business.
Yeah. So tell us what exactly is the Decorative Paint Academy? What is it? Who is it for? Do you have to already be an artist? Do you have to have any sort of talent at all? Build it out for me. What exactly is the academy all about?
So the academy is just a place where you can come, learn, practice, scale. Like we talk about everything that you could possibly think of that has anything to do with decorative painting, decorative, arts, canvas artwork, even interior design. And so I created this academy so that people like me or people who are striving to be in this industry could ask questions, a place
Mhm.
where they could take courses, classes. They could come in and actually learn hands on. In the academy, I even have it set up to where the members can come and work with me on projects in and out of town. I've even arranged where they could work on movie sets with me or TV shows so they could actually get the hands on experience.
Wow.
And then on top of that, we do a weekly coaching call so that you're actually talking to me live and meeting with me live. It's not some just only an online experience, fend for yourself. But we get on these calls and we talk about, we basically go around the Zoom call and we're trying to talk about what's going on in your business, if you're having problems. So it's just a really hands-on, one-on-one experience with me, somebody who's
Yeah.
been in this business for 30 years. And I feel like that's what people need when they're trying to get in, because it's very frustrating to get into it and then build your clientele. And so we even talk about mindsets,
Mm.
have events, there's online courses, there's in-person courses. So it's a full experience.
Wow. So, and you actually teach how to that wood grain that you mentioned in the beginning, you actually teach people how to do that.
Yeah, I actually teach people wood graining, Venetian plaster. I actually have several samples here that I pulled out just to show you.
I'm
If
ready.
you-
Let me see. I love it. I love all this.
okay. So, you know how earlier we were talking about textured finishes being
Mhm.
really popular now. So this is one of them, and I don't know if you
Mhm.
can see all of that. So
Yeah,
this
I
is
can totally see it.
okay. This is actually marmerino, and it has a glaze over the top. But I teach people finishes like this because this is huge in the commercial industry.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you ever eaten at Rumi's Kitchen?
No.
Okay. So if you're ever in Atlanta, try Rumi's Kitchen. But this is the first thing you see when you walk in. They have done the entire restaurant. It is gorgeous.
Wow. Like,
So
it
I,
almost looks like a tile, right?
yeah,
Like a tile, yeah. I love
yeah.
it.
So they have this finish on the wall. It's thicker in some areas, but I like to teach people stuff that's timeless, stuff that you can
Yeah,
use commercial and residential.
love that.
Um, then I also have now all of these are industrial grade. So I like to teach
Wow.
stuff that is durable too. So this is a what I like to call wall candy, and it has mica in it as well, but it's very tough and durable.
Is it like metal?
No, but the metal, the fit, what you're seeing is that mica.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. Let me see. I do stencil textures as well, so we learned that. So this is
Ooh.
really fun. This is the crocodile, and I believe this is the larger pattern. It comes in two sizes. But yeah, again, this is Venetian plaster.
Huh.
So we learned how to do different techniques. Because you probably never seen Venetian plaster look like this.
I
Let me
haven't.
say,
So,
okay.
and it's beautiful. I love it because it looks metal.
hmm
And can you just do that over drywall?
Yes, all of these are over
Amazing.
drywall. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Wow.
there are so many things that I teach. And I'll show you the last one. This is glass beads.
Ooh, love that.
So here in Atlanta, my clientele is a little blingy. They like a little bit of sparkle, but
I love
I
it.
try to give the people what they want.
Yeah, but no, you hit on something because what I'm finding, and I'm in Columbus, Ohio, is that the commercial space wants this and they will pay for it. And because
hmm
there's not a lot of people, at least in my area, that are doing this, I mean, you can charge top dollar to do this, as you should. It's a real skill, right? Is
Right.
that what you see like across the board? Is that the way it is in Atlanta or
Um,
other areas?
in Atlanta with the commercial, sometimes I get calls from commercial, and maybe because I really focus on homeowners and
Hmm.
interior designers.
Yeah.
But yes, you see a lot of faux finishing on in commercial spaces here in Atlanta for sure. And that is to me, I feel like that's the go-to. And then they'll do maybe wallpaper or something else like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
they do tend to do a lot of decorative painting here. Because I think it just gives the spaces character.
Hmm.
You kind of want to say your restaurant or your lounge or whatever apart from others. So I definitely think the decorative painting helps when it's creating that experience.
Yeah. So who is the Academy for? And I was kind of joking around about, do you have to have some artistic ability? But in all seriousness, do you is this a fit for just anyone who wants to learn this, or what do you think?
I think this is a fit for anyone who has any level of creativity, right? So
Hmm.
if you wake up and decide one day, you know what, I'm about to paint an accent wall. This is for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like if you can pick up a paint, a roller, and a brush, you can do this. You really can, because it just takes a little bit of training to do like the textured part of it. But
Hmm.
again, to me, that's not the hard part. It's not doing the textures. The hard part is running your business.
Right, right, right. Because
um,
that is like two different mindsets, right?
yes,
Because you've talked about mindset. There's the actual doing that creative piece, and then there's the having to act like a business owner.
yes,
Since you kind of brought up mindset, and it's and in your academy you teach the craft, but then you teach how to run the business. When you think about mindset, what is one of the things, what do people struggle with when you have new folks come in, or just people that have been in the academy? Is there something in terms of mindset that you think people often struggle
yeah.
with?
I typically feel like the mindset, until it shifts from hobby or,
Mm,
DIYer to business, they're never going to, take it serious. That's how I
yeah,
look at it. So people always come to me, oh, yeah, I want to take your class because when I get ready to, or I want to take your class. I'm not quite ready yet, but when I'm ready, well, I'm like, when do you say you're not ready to make money? Like, is that a thing?
right.
So I always try to get people to understand is, well, until you make that move and you make that choice to take a leap into this business, and I'm not saying you have to quit your job or anything like that, but until you take it serious, it's never going to
Yeah,
make money for you. Like, you don't take it serious, you don't apply yourself,
right.
and it's not the easiest thing being an entrepreneur,
No,
right?
it's not.
And so I don't care what you're doing, whether it's decorative painting, you're a cosmetologist, I don't know, you do nails, whatever, but you still have to build a business and you still have to
Mhm.
apply what you learn. And so
Yeah.
people in the mindset, they don't take it serious enough to
Mhm.
know, like, hey, let me really make an effort or really put forth effort and try to really make this work.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that being a business owner has instilled in me is that I can count on myself to make a
Hmm.
paycheck. It's like I remember when I realized that that's what I was doing, I'm actually creating this work for me to pay my bills or whatever it is. And that there's a lot of power in that. I remember feeling really empowered when I could kind of take a step back and look at what I was doing. And to your point, if you haven't done that before, I could see why you might not take it all that serious. You might not even believe that you can create that paycheck for yourself, you know?
Right, right. And it does take time. I have a member specifically that I was talking to on Monday's coaching call, and it was just so touching because he was like, I came from corporate. He had a
Mhm.
corporate role at Amazon and they let him go, but he had always wanted to do interior design. He had always wanted to do decorative walls, paint, and things like that. And he joined the academy and he was so frustrated. And I was literally like, dude, you've been in business for 6 months. Like, you cannot be frustrated. Like, come
Right.
back in 5 years. If you're not
Yeah.
making any money in
Yeah.
5 years, then let's talk.
Yeah.
But now he's like, oh my God. So he's made like, I think he told me like 12 grand since March, and he still works
Nice.
full time. So
Okay.
I thought that was great. So he was
Yeah.
very, very appreciative. And he just wanted to really encourage the members to stay diligent, in the business because it
Yeah.
can and it will happen.
Yeah. All right. One little curveball I'm going to throw at you. And this is for the Women in Paint podcast on the PCA platform and on YouTube. And since we're kind of, really focused on helping women grow their business and see what's out there, what who in your life has been a strong, powerful woman? When you think back, and who would you say in your life has been a woman who has really inspired you and maybe even helped you get to where you are now?
Mm. Definitely, I would say my mom and my coach.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, like I said before, my mentor, she's the best in the game, and she doesn't mentor everybody. So she saw something in me, and I'm grateful. I'm forever
Yeah.
grateful to her. Even when I connected with her a few months ago, she was like, "I've been following you. I'm so proud." And she was like, "I can see everything that I instilled, that we've done, that I instilled in you. Like it shows. You put the work forth, and it definitely shows." And then my mom, same thing with her. Nobody really understood me not going back to corporate America.
Yeah.
And so, when I got laid off, it was like this joke, like, "Oh my God, you're gonna paint? Like, where did that come from?" And her and my dad, maybe a few people, but she was the only person that was like, "Do whatever it is you need to do. I'm here for you. You're grown. I
Mhm.
don't worry about you anymore." I did it first, but now that you're out in the world, I've seen you become this beautiful, strong woman.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, if I need to go back to corporate, just go back to corporate. It's not that
Right.
serious. But yeah, so she really stood by me, and whatever I needed, she was there. She would come help me. My very first class, she came both days as my assistant because I was so nervous teaching, and the class sold out. So yeah, between her and my mom, I've gotten pretty much everything I've ever could have imagined or needed, to be a entrepreneur.
Yeah. Sounds like you got some great role models. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they find you? How can they find out more about your painting academy?
Okay, well, I think the biggest thing to do would be follow me on Instagram. And I'm actually the same on all platforms. So it's at Coach Toby Renee, and you can learn a lot about the coaching program that I do, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also reach me. You can email me as well at info@thefauxprostudio.com. And then we have a website as well, and that is thefauxprostudio.com. So
All the things, just like
yeah,
a good
yeah.
tech person would have, all the things.
And just make sure
Toby,
everything is named the same.
there you go. Last but not least, do you have any big goals or New Year's resolutions for 2025 that you want to share?
Oh, my New Year's resolution and my goals are to expand this platform, to expand this academy. So I have numbers. I just started a new app. I just created a new app. So
Wow,
my goal is to get 100 people during January. I've already gotten 34 that's
nice.
joined. So yeah, I just really want to make this a really good place where people can learn and be creative and feel inspired. So
I
that's
love
my
it.
goal.
All right. Well, I think that's a perfect place to end. I told you our time together was going to be quick, and it is. But I think Toby's going to come back, and we're going to do another episode
I would
and
love
talk.
that.
Yeah, because I want to talk about how painting contractors like me can work with decorative finishers like you, because there's a real I think there's a real cool way I think that we can work together. I'm starting to already do that, and I know you've done that. But in an effort to help build out both of our businesses, I think there's a lot we can do to partner. So we will be back together. Until next time, y'all check out our Facebook page at Women in Paint, and we will see you next time. Thank you,
Thank
Toby.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Women in Paint. We hope you feel compelled to follow your own path and use your compassion, strength, and skills to build a career in the paint industry. And if you like this episode as much as we did, give it a simple click to subscribe so we can invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share it on all your socials. Remember, Women in Paint, stir up more than just a can of eggshell.